Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. I do have one quick favor before we get to the video that you came here for, and that is very simply this. You see that little red subscribe button below this video? Go ahead, smash that subscribe button. It really does help me. It really does help this channel grow and my audience grow. So go ahead and hit that red subscribe button. And now, here is the video that you came here for. Who else I'm freaking out about if I'm a fan of? How about those Tennessee Vols, man? And, you know, listen, I do every Tuesday where Aaron was right, where Aaron was wrong, and I tell you what I did wrong, right? I own what I've done wrong, what I've said wrong, what I missed on. And boy, oh boy, have I missed on the Tennessee Vols. Because the Tennessee Vols in Week 2, after they beat Missouri, I said that this was the best Tennessee performance that I had seen probably in 10 years since Phil Fulmer was the head coach. Maybe Lane Kiffin had a game or two that one season, but I watched those Derek Dooley games. I watched those Butch Jones games. That Missouri game was the best Tennessee game that I had seen all year. Just one problem. They go to Athens the following week. They have a lead at halftime. They completely collapse, and they've never been the same since. And on Saturday, they lost their fourth straight game at Arkansas. I would argue it was probably the worst loss of the season and maybe the low point of the Jeremy Pruitt era, and let me explain why. And to be clear, that's no disrespect to Arkansas because Sam Pittman is doing an unbelievable job with that program. They're 3-3 overall. They should be 4-2, but it's not really about Arkansas. It's about Tennessee. It's about who they are. It's about where they were at in that game and the fact that they still lost it. And if you watch the game, first of all, Tennessee was coming off a bye, right? Like I'm not going to excuse anything that happened before this game, but you can figure out a reason. Oh, you're playing Bama, you're playing at Georgia, Kentucky. If you just limit the turnovers, maybe it's different. But this week, you're coming out of a bye, you're refreshed, you're the healthiest you've been since the start of the season. And you expect, at the very least, a solid across-the-board performance. I mean, if you just lose to a better team, that's one thing, but you expect a solid across-the-board performance. And to Tennessee's credit, they largely had that in the first half. They're up 13-0 at halftime. They're running the ball. They're controlling the clock. They're dominating the line of scrimmage. Everything's great. Then the third quarter comes. Arkansas scores them 24-0, and Arkansas ends up winning 24-13. Now, I will say, in defense of Jeremy Pruitt, and when I say in defense of, because I've been doing that a lot, in defense of Jim Harbaugh, in defense of Kirby Smart, in defense of Jeremy Pruitt, I always say that because I want all the facts out there. I want you to have all the facts so you're not saying, oh, Torres is biased, or Torres missed this, or Torres doesn't care about that. Here are the facts with Tennessee. I will say when they were up 13-0, our buddy Jarrett Garantano was actually playing well. Fifth-year senior quarterback who can't limit the turnovers was actually playing really well, and he went out with a head injury, which I believe was a concussion. I was kind of doing a million different things, so I didn't catch all the details, but he wasn't able to play. First problem, Jeremy Pruitt has a highly touted freshman that they believe is the future of the program. His name is Harrison Bailey. Instead, they go to a kid, Brian Maurer. Brian Maurer, 0 completions, 4 attempts, couple drives. They take him out, and they put in Harrison Bailey. So that's one. First of all, you should have just put in the guy that's the future right now because you got to start winning games. Second thing, late in the game, 24-13, you're down, right? You lose 24-13. What is the one thing that pops out when I tell you 24-13? Oh, I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's that they're down by 11, which is a 2-possession game, okay? Got to kick a field goal, got to score a touchdown, 2 points to go to overtime. Well, Tennessee's driving. They're about on the 25-yard line, late in the game, about 5 minutes to go, to get to a fourth down. I don't claim to be the guy on Twitter that, I know so much more than these coaches. This is their job. I get it. It's their livelihood. They know more about football than me. But everybody on the planet knows down 11, 2-possession game, got to kick a field goal here to give yourself a chance to win this game by doing an onside kick, getting the ball back. Or, I don't remember all the details now. Maybe they didn't even have to do an onside kick. Maybe they could have kicked it deep with the timeouts. Instead, Jeremy Pruitt goes for it, fourth down, interception, and that was kind of the end of the game. Tennessee did get the ball back with 30 or 30-something seconds left, but at that point you got to score twice. If you kick the field goal, even if you attempt it, you at least give your team a chance to win, give your team a chance to get the ball back down one possession. Once you decide to go for it on fourth down, if you don't get the fourth down conversion, the game is essentially over. And even if you do, at a certain point, you're running so much time off the clock that it really doesn't matter, because even if you get the touchdown, you still got to give the ball back, then get the ball back. And so it was just boneheaded coaching. Now, Jeremy Pruitt said it was too far to kick the field goal. I don't buy it, whatever. I think it was like a 42-yard field goal. You got to kick it. You got to give your team a chance to win. Third thing. Bad quarterback handling, bad clock possession, and then the third thing, which was maybe the most important thing. When Tennessee got down, they folded like a house of cards. They folded like a house of cards. And this has been the issue with Tennessee for as long as I can remember, dating back to really the Lane Kiffin era. Every time something goes wrong, they fold. They're up 13-0. Everything's going well. They're running the ball. They're controlling the clock. They're playing fearless. Good for them. Shout out to them. Keep that going, but then the second something bad happens, they let their head down. They let their guard down. They do dumb stuff. They give up big plays. They miss their assignments. They do things that they shouldn't do. And so at the end of the day, while up until 2 or 3 weeks ago I was defending Jeremy Pruitt, all of this falls on the head coach. This isn't going to Bama and just playing a better team. This isn't going to Georgia that's way ahead of you in terms of the rebuild and build the way that Georgia has been building the last couple years. This is just straight up, you're playing a team, and again, no disrespect to Arkansas, but a team with a first-year head coach who was way down further than you were. And that was the most frustrating part for Tennessee fans, I think. Jeremy Pruitt can't even go to the podium and sell, well, it's a process, it takes time. Sam Pittman's been there for 10 minutes. Sam Pittman has Arkansas at 3-3 without a spring practice. He has this team at 500, 3 SEC wins after they had 1 SEC win the last 3 seasons. So Jeremy Pruitt can't even sell, well, it's Bama, it's Georgia, it's Florida. Nah, man. You just lost to Arkansas, and it's no disrespect to Arkansas, but first-year head coach, 6 games into his career, and you just got beat by them. And so for the first time, I got to be honest, I understand the frustrated Tennessee fan, right? Like last year, Georgia State, you lose to Georgia State. But it's year 2, and you can kind of sell it as it's still part of the process. And again, you lose to Bama, you lose to Georgia, you lose to Florida. But you can't sell that anymore. You can't sell that. This isn't a top 5 team. This isn't a top 10 team. This isn't game 1 of year 2. We're now halfway through year 3, and things are getting worse. Things are getting worse. By the week, every week, getting worse. Can't develop a quarterback, which, by the way, that's the incredible thing. I tweeted it out. A lot of people loved it. All the defensive guys from the Nick Saban coaching tree, it's incredible. Will Muschamp, Kirby Smart, Jeremy Pruitt, can't develop a quarterback. But year 3, Jarrett Garantano, who you're terrified to let throw the ball, he's still the best option that you got. And then on top of that, beyond that, bad clock management, the team quits, and I understand the frustration of a Tennessee fan today. And I don't know what the answer is, and I'm the type of guy, when I come on this show, I've said it many times, I like to come on and give you a definitive answer. Okay, this is the problem, this is a solution. Well, I don't know what the solution is. And here's the scary part for Tennessee. Kind of what I said a minute ago with Michigan. They're through the easy part of their schedule. They got A&M this weekend, who is playing, I think, as well as anybody outside of Alabama. A&M this weekend. Then you got to go to Auburn, who at home at the very least, Auburn is interesting. And you got Florida to close the season. You do have a game with Vandy in between, but at least Vandy plays people hard. They play hard. I watched them against Ole Miss and Mississippi State the last 2 weeks. They play hard. Tennessee's not even playing hard right now. And so if you're a Tennessee fan, I understand your frustration, and I really am. I do think it's time to start questioning Jeremy Pruitt. I'm not saying he needs to be fired. I'm not saying Phil Fulmer has to come down from his ivory tower and give him a pink slip. But at what point are there no longer excuses and you start having answers? Because Dan Mullen's in year 3, he's got things rolling. And I know Florida was a better situation to inherit, but it's not as though Kyle Trask is a can't-miss 5-star guy. We know the deal with Kyle Trask. Never played quarterback as a starter in high school or in college till Dan Mullen got there last year. He's in year 3. Mario Cristobal is in year 3 at Oregon, has them as probably the best team in that conference. I could go on and on and on, but I'll save it. Sam Pittman, year 1. Lane Kiffin, year 1. At least with Lane Kiffin, they have an identity. They got to outscore you, but they got an identity. Jeremy Pruitt, it's year 3. What are you doing? And so I understand the frustration of a Tennessee fan, and I don't have the answer. And that's the crazy part. When I come on this show, I like to give answers. I like to tell you what to do, but I don't know what to do if you're a Tennessee fan. I understand the frustration. And oh, by the way, guess what? There's another coaching candidate with SEC experience right up the road, and I see Tennessee fans already starting to circle on Twitter. That guy's name is Hugh Freeze, by the way, in case you're not familiar with him. But I see Tennessee fans going in on Hugh Freeze, and I get it. I'd be frustrated if I'm a Tennessee fan too.